we have a patent pending methodology to do planning, very similar. It's called excellence, and it's about creating these blueprints, which is essentially doing that very same thing. And it starts with the idea of what is it, well, first of all, more important, it is important for a company to have an understanding of how do they define success. Too many companies start off with a revenue number. That's only a small portion of success, right? That's
it's an important one,
but it's an underpinning to the other things, because what they're really saying is we want to, back to market share, right? It's going to take so much revenue to achieve that market share, or customer equity or shareholder value. It's going to take so much revenue to do that. Really having clarity from the C-suite what defines those levels of success, then you can do the next kind of thing. But one of the things that you were bringing up, talking about looking at the pipeline and what marketing is doing and how marketing is building it and building a forecast from that. Now you're talking about predictive analytics and predictive modeling, which is a skill that a lot of marketing organizations still need to acquire. I mean, there's and data. It requires a data management capacity that a lot of marketing organizations, particularly B2B companies.
Less arts and crafts, more rocket science.
Yes, we're going to have to take a more scientific approach to marketing, more data-focused approach to marketing. But to the point that you were making, in order to do that kind of forecasting, you're going to have to be able to do predictive modeling. And to do that, you're going to have to do some kind of analytics. And to do that, you're going to, so it kind of cascades down into the organization's skill sets. So you're into people issues, and it also cascades down into process. And lastly, into systems, because it isn't something you can do without the right infrastructure. So those are some things.
Do you find enough CMOs understand the need to invest in their people, process, and technology for analytics?
I hear them talking about it, but when I look at their budgets, which, where the rubber meets the road, there's not very many dollars allocated to those things. So if you think about the last few years, what kind of training budgets do you think most CMOs have on their line item? I mean, it's very, very lean. So if you're not training your people in analytics, then and you don't have recs for people with analytics, or you've taken away budgets for third parties who can help you with analytics, then you might be talking about it, but you probably don't have the ability to do it. Same, how many do you see have a line item for infrastructure, right? And that infrastructure is more than just we're going to buy,
Marketo or something.
Right, because
there's more than that.
To put Marketo in place is going to take more than just buying the software. I mean, there's training and professional services, and there's process work that has to be done beforehand. Ideally, configuration work. So where's the money that's going for that? They oftentimes don't have that in the budget. So then they end up with a system, whether it's yours or someone else's, that they really aren't able to get the right level of usage and adoption by the marketing organization, right?
Do you have any metrics, like what marketers should be spending as a % of budget on infrastructure and all these things we're talking about?
I don't. That's a really good question. We haven't really asked that question, and what should they be spending?
And what are the A players doing?
Oh, the A players are, let's put it this way, the A players are spending.
Right.
And it's on their budget line item. So one of the questions anyone listening to us ought to be asking themselves, do we have that in our line item, on our budget? And if the answer is no, then you're probably not an A player.
I remember seeing a stat from IDC which says that companies should be spending about 5% of their marketing budget on technology at least. So it's 5% on technology, and then you add on the training and the other systems.
Right. So and I think they usually say you're going to have to spend at least that same amount of money on the stuff that goes around the technology, if I remember that information right. So you're looking at 5% on the actual technology investment, but then you still have to have the additional 5% for the other part. And I think it also depends on where you are in the journey. If you're at the very beginning stages of your journey, the level of investment may have to be greater than if you've already made lots and lots of investments, and you want to just be sure that you're increasing your utilization of that. So things might be different depending on where you are in the journey.